Hey there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and a new paper crafting video. Today I am hopping along with Kendra's card challenge. This is challenge number 16, where Kendra gives you 6 ways to cut 6 pieces of 6x6 paper and turn them into 15 cards with these amazing layouts. This challenge runs till December 31st, so you have time to enter and play along. Go to kendrascardchallenges.com to find out more. Then here are all the sponsors for this challenge, challenge number 16, and today we are featuring products from Artful Angel and their latest release. So let's jump in and take a look at what I'm going to make today. So I'm going to use sketch number 7 for my card. You can see those 3 cascading squares. That's going to be perfect for the stamp sets I'm using from Artful Angel. Here we have the stamp set Abominable, and then we have the second set, which is really good at coordinating with the first one, called Footprints. They are really super fun, and I thought it would be great to do some no-line coloring with these images. They're just really super cute and I think easy to no-line color, except for one part. One part I had trouble with. You'll see in just a minute what I'm talking about. So I'm going to stamp these with some fade out ink from Ink on 3. This will fade out over time and allow my no line coloring to be the only line that shows, but it gives me a guideline that I can, trace. So I'm going to show you how I did this on the second image. Now the first one I did, he looks creepy. I know that. I tried doing his facial features with Copic markers and it just didn't work out in my favor. So I'm going to do the face a different way on this second critter, and I'm going to end up redoing my first one. But sometimes you got to practice and get the feel for what you're doing before you move on and really get it down. So I'm just tracing over the stamped image with my darkest marker first, and then I'll bring in my mid-tone marker and kind of just make that area, those trace lines, a little bit bigger, blending on them and starting to fill in the image. And then I'll have a third lightest color for all of my images that I will do the rest of the filling in. Now, I will tell you that I like to do this 2 times, or at least I did with these images. Sometimes you might not need to do it twice. And then also here is where I am deciding to do the face with just this liner pen. I practice on my first one where I'd colored them with Copic markers and it didn't look good. So I practiced doing the facial features with the pen on the one I messed up first and decided that was the way to go. So I'm just tracing over it with this liner pen and it's so much better. I really love it. So then I can go back in and add in some of those other details, the ears, the eyebrows, and then I'm going to use gray markers for all of their hands and feet. And then also the lightest color is the color I'm going to do around their facial features. And I'm just being really careful not to color over my black liner pen. I'm not sure the one I have is permanent or not, so I just went very carefully around it. All right, so then for this particular Yeti, I have the gray marker here coloring or tracing that darkest line and then coming in with my second color. I'm only doing 2 because these feet are pretty small. Yeah, so I tried using my like gel pen there and it didn't look good. So I brought in my Copic paint pen and that worked so much better over my black liner. So there it is. One of the dots for his eyes was a little juicy, so I had to really let that dry. Here's what it looks like after I went over the lines a second time. I'm not sure if you can tell a difference there, but I thought I would show you with this second image going over it a second time. And here also I wanted you to see how much better this little guy looks without the double layers of his face and how I had messed up the first one, so you can get a look at it up close. So I'm just, like I said, going over it a second time. That was my mid-tone. Here's my lightest. And when I go over it a second time, I always do my mid-tone, my lightest, and then the last thing I do is the darkest color. I almost need to add back in some definition. Now, this might not be the way that you would do it every time, but these ones with the definition of the little hairs, the fur, I really felt like I needed to do the darkest color last too. really accentuate those lines, and it really helps bring out the detail. So these are really fun to color if you are like new to or haven't really done any no line coloring. These are pretty fun to play with. Like probably the hardest part is the facial features. If you're a little bit shy about doing the tracing, which I would say I totally am, like it makes me really nervous, just give it a try. And always, this is my motto, always just keep going. Sometimes when you first start you think, oh, that looks terrible, but if you just keep going it ends up kind of panning out in the end. So there's all three of my images colored and ready to go, and I think they're just darling. I'm going to fussy cut these out and get them ready for my card. And you can see here when I cut, I like to hold the paper with my left hand and the scissors with my right, and then I only turn the paper with my left hand. I try not to turn my scissors very much and just do the moving of the paper with my left hand, and that has really helped me to be better at fussy cutting, plus practice. That helps too. All right, so there's all three of the little guys. I think they're so fun. I loved playing with different colors for each of them. All right, so now let's move on to the rest of the card. This is my background. Because my images were a little bit bigger, I'm actually going to make this sketch into a 5x7 card. And in the challenge, it says the background could be a stenciled background. So I'm going to go ahead and stencil this snowflake pattern right over the top of my patterned paper. But I'm using sparkle paste that is translucent with glitter suspended in it, but it's not a solid glitter paste. It is mostly translucent with flecks of glitter, Tim Holtz always says, like the top of a mica table in a diner. I think that's how it goes, but these are going to dry clear and look so fun. All right, so to mount my little critters on for the little squares, I had to bump these up in size. Each of the holographic paper is 2 inches by 2 inches, and the squares are 2 1/4 by 2 1/4. So a little bit bigger than what the sketch has laid out for me to cut my paper as, but I just needed that extra size for these particular Yetis. So feel free when you're making these cards and the sketches to alter them slightly. It's always an inspiration to look at these sketches, a jumping off point to get your mojo going, but you don't have to do them exactly as is on the challenge. Like you can alter it to fit what you're making or follow your mojo. All right, so for my Yeti that's going to go in the middle of the card, I decided to go ahead and pop him up on an action wobbler so he could be all wiggly and jiggly. All right, on the sketch, there are 3 of these hanging banner pieces, and I'm just flag cutting each of them. They're about a 1/2 inch wide and then differing lengths. All right, there is my background all dry, and we're ready to put this card together. So I have the upper right Yeti going down first, and then the lower left going down second, and the one in the middle is going to overlap both. So I just kind of made sure I didn't press down on those first 2 squares before putting my third one on so I could wiggle it around if I needed to. So there's the third one. You can see kind of overlapping, but you can still see a good portion of those critters. Okay, then it's time to add on the little flags, and it does say what length they are, but I just decided to leave them long, put them on my card how I thought they fit best, and then trim off the excess. But you can follow along with the sketch and cut your paper exactly. All right, so my sentiment for this one, the best is Yeti to come. I thought it was really cute. I'm using plum ink from Catherine Pooler. I just kind of tried to go through all of my inks to match up what I'd colored with my Copic markers. I'm going to trim this little guy down and then glue that onto that lower right corner of my card to kind of balance everything out. There is another set, King of the Jungle, that's new from the latest Artful Angel release, and I'm using the happy birthday from that set for my card as well. So it's going to say happy birthday, the best is Yeti to come. I thought that went very well together. So I'm going to lay that down over the banners, and I think that really helps for the balancing of this card. And then for embellishment, I am adding some white clay hearts to play into the snowy feel of this card, and I just love that there's so many different textures and elements on this card with the shiny paper, the glittery the glittery stenciled background. It's not embossed. And then the snowflakes. And then we, of course, have the interactive part with the action wobbler. I just think that makes it so fun. All right, so we've got the outside of the card done. I'm going to add a few little things to the inside for some added interest and, you know, just to keep the fun going on the inside of the card. So I had some extra of this pattern paper here, and on the very end it had like a piece that had ripped off of it from a previous project, so I was able to just cut that off. All right, on the inside I'm going to stamp another Yeti with some blue ink that I thought kind of went well with the blue on the outside of my card, and then another sentiment, okay, let's get this right, are you Yeti to party? Isn't that fun? Also, there's footprints in here. I really wanted to incorporate those on my card, so I decided I would stamp them on the back, like the Yetis had made their way to the front of the card. So there they are on the back, something a little bit fun to discover as you're going through this card. I think it's a really fun birthday card, and it could be for anybody. So I love how the no line coloring turned out. It's a challenge for me, but I always end up loving the results. So I encourage you to give it a try too if you have yet to. And if you have any tips for no line coloring, let us know in the comments below. Make sure you are down there in the description box checking out the playlist for the other stops on the hop and entering to win a prize from Artful Angel. And of course, go to kendrascardchallenges.com to play along and make the cards from challenge number 16. I'll see you all again very soon with a new video. Happy stamping! Bye!